UK culture. History. Great Britain, UK. The British have a rich history going back thousands of years. Unfortunately, few in Britain really know much about their history. History is an interweaving of events and people, and it's not just about kings and queens. It's about ordinary people and how events influenced them, and on occasions, how they influenced events. Britain is not one nation, but a combination of different people who tend to remain distinct in spite of a millennium or more of intermarriage. The age of Stone Age men, first farmers, Stonehenge, was 4000 to 1500 BC. From 1500 BC to 43 AD, it was the age of hill fort and the Celts. Britain was Roman from 43 to 410 AD. 410 to 1066, the Romans left and the Anglo-Saxons arrived. The Norman conquest started. 1066 to 1660, the Norman conquest to Cromwell. 1660 to 1918, Cromwell to the end of World War I. Britain in the 20th century. 1914 to 1918, the First World War. 1918 to 1939, the after effects of World War I. Britain since 1945. Britain gives up empire, joins Europe. British colonized almost all parts of the world and have left their footprint everywhere in the globe. They are known for their reserved nature, punctuality, fashion consciousness, healthy eating habits, etc. They are fun-loving people who spend time on recreational activities too. British are time-conscious and they keep up time. Social customs. Social customs. Britain's social customs. Time. British people place considerable value on punctuality. Since Britishers are time-conscious, the pace of life may seem very rushed. In Britain, people make great effort to arrive on time. It is often considered impolite to arrive even a few minutes late. Dress. When they are relaxing at home or out playing with their friends, children in England wear comfortable clothes like t-shirts, jeans and sportswear. The right clothes are very important to teenagers, and many love to shop for the latest fashions. Special clothes for the climate include heavy overcoats or anoraks for cold, wintry weather, to raincoats and umbrellas for rainy weather. Materials used cover every type and color of fabric available, especially considering that Britain is a multicultural society. They dress more formally when attending a holiday dinner or cultural event, such as a concert or theatre performance. Eating habits. English food has traditionally been based on beef, lamb, pork, chicken and fish, and generally served with potatoes and one other vegetable. The most common and typical foods eaten in England include the sandwich, fish and chips, pies like the Cornish pastry, trifle and roast dinners. Some of the main dishes have strange names like Bubble and Squeak, Spotted Dick and Toad in the Hole. The staple foods of England are meat, fish, potatoes, flour, butter and eggs. Many of the dishes are based on these foods. The British generally pay a lot of attention to good table manners. Even young children are expected to eat properly with knife and fork. Things one should do. If a guest, it is polite to wait until the host starts eating. It shows consideration. Always chew and swallow all the food in your mouth before taking more or taking a drink. Eat chicken and pizza with fingers. Otherwise, always use a knife and fork. Always say thank you when served something. It shows appreciation. When eating rolls, break off a piece of bread before buttering. Eating it whole looks indecent. When eating soup, tip the bowl away and scoop the soup up with the spoon. When finished eating and to let others know, place knife and fork together with the prongs on the fork facing upwards. In a restaurant, it is normal to pay for food by putting money on the plate the bill comes on. Things one should not do. It is impolite to start eating before everyone has been served. Never chew with your mouth open. No one wants to see food being chewed or hearing it being chomped on. It is impolite to have elbows on the table while eating. Don't reach over someone's plate for something. Ask for the item to be passed. Never talk with food in your mouth. It is impolite to put too much food in the mouth. Never use fingers to push food onto spoon or fork. It is impolite to slurp your food or eat noisily. Never blow your nose on a napkin. Napkins are for dabbing lips. Never take food from a neighbor's plate. Never pick food out of teeth with your fingernails. To eat with a knife and fork in England. The fork is held with the prongs facing down in the left hand and the knife in the right. Houses. In the large cities, people often live in apartments which are called flats. In most towns, there are streets of houses joined together in long rows. They are called terraced houses. The main types of houses in England are detached, semi-detached, terrace, flats, apartments. More people buy their own homes than in the past. More than a quarter of homes in England are owned outright by their occupiers, while almost another 4 in 10 are owned with the help of a mortgage or loan. They have centralized heaters in their homes to keep them warm. They mostly maintain a lawn and a garden. Sport, leisure and free time activity. Sports and physical recreation. Sports in England. Sports have an important part in the life of the Englishman and are a popular leisure activity. Many of the world's famous sports began in England, including cricket, football, lawn tennis and rugby. Cricket. England's national sport is cricket, although to many, football, soccer is seen as their national sport. Some of England's football teams are world famous. Football, soccer. Football is undoubtedly the most popular sport in England and has been played for hundreds of years. Rugby. Rugby originated from Rugby School in Warwickshire. It is similar to football but played with an oval ball. Players can carry the ball and tackle each other. The best rugby teams compete in the Super League final each September. For many years, rugby was only played by the rich upper classes, but now it is popular all over the country. Tennis. The world's most famous tennis tournament is Wimbledon. It started in the 19th century. It begins in June, at a time when English often have the finest weather. Millions of people watch the championships on TV live. Netball. Netball is the largest female team sport in England. The sport is played almost exclusively by women and girls, though male participation has increased in recent years. Basketball. Over 3 million people participate in basketball in the UK. Golf. Scotland is traditionally regarded as the home of golf. There are over 400 golf courses in Scotland alone. Horse racing. Horse racing, the sport of kings, is a very popular sport. The Derby originated here, as did the Grand National, which is the hardest horse race in the world. Horse racing and greyhound racing are popular spectator sports. People can place bets on the races at legal off-track betting shops. Polo. Another sport is polo, brought to Britain from India in the 19th century by army officers. It is the fastest ball sport in the world. Table tennis. Ping pong. Table tennis was invented in England in 1880. It began with Cambridge University students using cigar boxes and champagne corks. Although the game originated in England, British players don't fare well in international championships. Badminton. Badminton takes its name from the Duke of Beaufort's country home, Badminton House, where the sport was first played in the 19th century. Trade and industries. Britain's trade and industries. Britain's traditional industries included iron and steel production, electronics, coal mining, food and textiles. Types of industry. Machine tools, electric power equipment, automation equipment, railroad equipment, shipbuilding, aircraft, motor vehicles and parts, electronics and communications equipment, metals, chemicals, coal, petroleum, paper and paper products, food processing, textiles, clothing and other consumer goods. Natural resources. Coal, oil, natural gas, tin, limestone, iron ore, salt, clay, chalk, gypsum, lead, silica are available in plenty. Mines and factories. During the 19th century, Britain used to have many coal and iron mines and had the natural resources to make textiles, steel and ships. Today, coal and textiles can be produced more cheaply in other countries, and so many British factories and mines have closed. Farming. Products like cereals, oilseed, potatoes, vegetables, cattle, sheep, poultry, fish. Agriculture is intensive, highly mechanized, and efficient by European standards, producing about 60% of food needs with only 1% of the labor force. The lowlands support some farming such as wheat, potatoes, and vegetables. Dairy and sheep farming are common in the hilly pastures. Work. There are about 3.7 million businesses in the UK. About 75% of British jobs are in service industries, hotels, restaurants, travel, shopping, and computer and finances. It is the fastest growing business and employs over 20 million people. The usual working day starts at 9 a.m. and finishes by 5 p.m. Most people work a 5-day week. The working week is on average the longest of any country in Europe. In 1998, a new law was passed saying that workers do not have to work more than 48 hours a week if they don't want to. However, some British workers do work more than a 48-hour week. British employers must give their workers 4 weeks paid holiday. The statutory national minimum wage, NMW, was introduced in 1999, based on the recommendations of the Low Pay Commission. Children are not legally allowed to work until they are 13. Under 15s can work up to 5 hours on Saturdays and weekdays in the summer holidays, to a maximum of 25 hours a week during school holidays. They can only work 2 hours maximum on school days and Sundays. Over 15s can work 8 hours maximum on Saturdays and school holiday weekdays, and up to 35 hours a week during the holidays. Rights at work. Rights at work will depend on statutory rights, contract of employment. Statutory rights. Statutory rights are legal rights based on laws passed by Parliament. Nearly all workers, regardless of the number of hours per week they work, have certain legal rights. There are some workers who are not entitled to certain statutory rights. Rights of the contract employees. The contract of employment is the agreement made between the employer and the employee. This could be in the form of a written agreement or what has been agreed verbally between them. In addition, the contract of employment would also include custom and practice agreements. These are how things are usually done in the workplace. Illegal contracts of employment. Some contracts of employment will be illegal if The employee gets all or part of their wages as cash in hand. And tax and national insurance contributions are not paid. And the employee knows they are getting paid in this way to avoid paying national insurance and tax. Short-time working. If the employer has no work for the employee to do, they may put them on short-time working or lay them off. Short-time working means he will receive only part of your normal wage. If he is laid off, he will not usually get paid. A person who is laid off or put on short-time working may be entitled to a payment from their employer called a guarantee payment. Time off work. Almost all employees have a statutory right to take paid time off work for the following: to carry out duties as a trade union official, to carry out duties as a trade union health and safety representative, to look for work if faced with redundancy, to receive antenatal care, to have a baby, to take paternity leave, to take adoption leave, or to ask for flexible working hours. Health and safety. All employers have a statutory duty to take care of the health and safety of all their employees. For example, they should provide first aid equipment and adequate means of escape in case of fire, protective clothing, and ensure all machinery is safe. Shops and shopping. Peak shopping days are Saturdays and Sundays. Shops are generally open on bank holidays. Bank holidays are a great time to shop as there are many sales on, especially around Easter and Christmas. In England, most retail shops are generally open 6 or 7 days a week. Typical opening times are Mondays to Saturdays, 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Some shopping centres stay open until 8 p.m. or later. Sunday, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. or 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. Sunday shopping has become popular in recent years, and most large shops in towns are open for business. Shops are only allowed to trade for 6 hours on Sundays. Large supermarkets are open for 24 hours, except on Sundays. Cost of living in London. The cost of living varies from one part of the UK to another. Generally, it is more expensive to live in London and the southeast of England, and cheaper up north. Britain's currency is based on the pound sterling, which is divided into 100 pence. Coins are normally issued up to the value of £1. London is not a cheap place to live. House prices are high, and it even costs you more to rent a room or house there. The average cost of renting in London, self-contained bed-sit or studio flat, £110 to £160 per week. One-bedroom flat with a lounge, kitchen and bathroom, £150 to £180 per week.